But she does not remember anything, it seems. Not me, not our past, nothing. She saw me and was afraid, in fact. Are you listening, Morgana? Ah, darling, devoted Giselle. You poor, pitiful soul. That must have been quite harrowing. But don't worry, you still have me. Besides, this might not be your only chance. As long as you continue on, Michelle could appear before you again. Do you think she will remember me next time? I can't say. That's up to Michelle. You do have another option, though. Forget Michelle, and... forget Michelle yourself, and... Forget Michelle yourself, and seek out a new master. Someone who can be yours. Someone dedicated and faithful, who needs you. Someone worthy of this mansion. Someone who needs me. That's right. Michelle didn't need you after all. It's all right. Don't worry. You have plenty of time. God. Any story that can do recontextualization like this, man. Ugh. That's something. I love how the pattern on Nellie's walls run down the entire background, including over the furniture. That's neat. The backgrounds in this, except for this one, of course, you know why, are all amazing. This is so hauntingly beautiful and tragic and sad and... oh my god. And no sprites needed for this. Just these locations in the dead of night evoke those same feelings all over again, without needing to do anything extra. And how fascinating that time it shows Mel completely alone, not even a hint of the maid. It's raining again today. I kind of wonder what happened to him after he fled from the mansion. Although, I suppose it doesn't matter much to me. The witch is surely watching him. Such a dreadful storm. It sounds like someone crying. I was at that point completely out of my mind, broken. My smiles, frowns, and gasps had all been replaced with imitations. Shortly afterward, the flaxen-haired boy moved out of the house and went on to become a priest. The girl fell ill a few years later, her disease eventually taking her life. But the boy never once returned home. The Rhodes family crumbled. I couldn't bring myself to grieve for them, or to reflect on Hayden's sorrowful end. I simply waited for time to begin moving once more. Ugh. Just the way they're able to put this in such a, like, dour, so grounded new light. Like, I think I said before that, or I implied before that the fifth door felt like especially grounded and like real and heart-wrenching. And that's not to say the previous stories weren't, but they were told in like a sort of like tragedy, Shakespearean sort of manner. Like, this is a story, you know, with the eye catches and everything. But now, reflecting on those with the lens of the fifth door, it pulls it all forward into this murky place of painful realism, and just completely elevates that material. It's stunning stuff. Little remains to be said about my broken self. But as I stated before we began, this is the maid's tale. So I would like to take this opportunity to elaborate on events I was unable to show you before. That is, if you can bear listening to such a dismal, miserable story. I already told you of my meeting with the beast, so I will begin with the second tale from here. After Bestia slaughtered the merchant who showed up at the mansion, his mad laughter echoing through the halls. His mad laughter... Wait, what? Oh. I already told you of my meeting with the beast, so I will begin the second tale from here. After Bestia slaughtered the merchant who showed up at the mansion, his mad laughter echoing through the halls. Yes. Oh, should I actually do this? It's going on for a little while. I mean, I did my fair share of beast laughter. Okay, he's really going for it.
Hey, did you hear that? Did you hear his screams? He said I was a monster.
A mutilated body lay sprawled across the living room floor. As you could imagine, that was my first time ever seeing such a bloody, mangled corpse. I could not look directly at it, so I averted my eyes. God, that's so sad that she is so weathered and hardened, and yet she's never seen a mangled corpse before. So, like, just imagining that state of mind that she must be in, she's like, oh, something new, but it's just horrible like all the rest. So I don't really know. Sort of indifferent, I'd imagine.
Hey, you saw it. I just proved that beasts are stronger than humans.
Indeed you did.
I know. I've got a great idea.
I don't remember seeing him smiling like this. Are these new? Maybe not, but I don't remember them.
You asked if I wanted to become the master, and I said I did. Which means you work for me, isn't that right? So you'll do whatever I tell you to do, won't you?
What would you have me do?
Chop up his arms and legs and make a stew out of him. And don't you hesitate, or you'll end up like him.
Yes, master. He's trying to assert his total dominance over me. That's not proper behavior for the master, although I am the one who offered him the role.
Do it.
He's an utterly mad beast. But am I really all that different? Ah, there's blood all over my hands. It sounds like someone's laughing. Is it him? Or is it her? No matter what happens, it won't affect me. The cocoon is not the real me. Still thinking about the cocoon at this point, I was looking down at what could only be described as a pile of human debris. I had done this. But that fact did not register with me. I felt nothing at all. Not regret, not anger, not sorrow or despair.
Put it on the fire. He said he traded in spices. That should give him a very unique flavor.
How am I supposed to work with this? I was, quite simply, puzzled. No one had ever made such a request of me in my hundreds of years at the mansion. That's all I was, puzzled. But he interpreted it as hesitation or fear. That's so hard to say. But he interpreted it as hesitation or fear. So he grabbed me by the shoulder, knocked me to the floor, and skewered me with that curious blade of his. God, and when she said in the second door that she had hidden herself away, she sort of says that from a position of strength, of like omniscience, like I can do whatever the hell I want. But no, man, she doesn't want this to keep happening to her. For the first few moments, he wore that deranged grin of his, but as the seconds passed, it slowly transformed into shock. Not a drop of blood spilled from my breast. And the instant he realized it, I saw revulsion in his eyes. Him, of all people. A man who cackled as he slaughtered others, was disgusted by a mere maid. It was absurd. So much so I almost wanted to cry.
You...
Is that all, Master? Are you not going to dismember me? You could try stabbing my face, or my neck, or my stomach, or any other part of me. Perhaps then I might die. Oh, now don't look at me like I'm some exotic creature.
Stop that. Quit laughing.
Why should I? My only distinctive feature is my smile. I have nothing else. My hands are covered in blood, but I can still smile. It's ridiculous.
I get it now. You're the witch, aren't you? Ah, I see. Only monsters ever had a place here. Every so often I hear a woman's voice in my head. That's you, isn't it? You're the witch.
Monster, witch, maid. What am I? Who is Giselle? Michelle said she was spirited, true to herself, that she often laughed and cried and shouted. But I don't know anyone like that. I'm just a maid. Nothing more than a servant. The woman's voice he had said he heard was probably the real witch's, but I had no interest in that. I almost would have preferred not having to think about anything at all. Nothing would cause me to waver if my head was empty. A world without joy or sorrow sounds quite wonderful. But nothing ever went the way I planned. For the white-haired girl, whom I thought I would never see again, appeared before me once more. I was quite nearly in a panic. Beneath my perfectly practiced smile was a veritable storm of emotions. Faint hope flared up within my shell. Perhaps this time, Michelle would remember me. But that hope was unsurprisingly in vain. Is someone there? Yes, I came by to ask if there was anything you needed. I cannot offer you anything extravagant, not like before, but I am here to provide you with anything in my capacity. I appreciate the offer, but I need nothing. Being allowed to stay the night is more than enough. Do you work here in the mansion? Yes, indeed I do. I have been here for a very, very long time. A very long time? You might think this an odd question, but have we met before? Something about you seems familiar. And I get the feeling I have been in this mansion before. Yes, we have met. It was quite some time ago, though. When was it? It was an unimaginably long time ago. Do you remember a boy and girl with flaxen hair? Flaxen hair. I apologize. My memory fails me. Do you not remember me either? I was afraid of this. She doesn't remember anything this time either. But I will not be so pushy this time. I could not bear to be so blatantly rejected again. I see. You should probably not push yourself to remember then. There were joyous times and there were less than joyous times. But would you be so kind as to answer one question? What might your name be? My name is Michelle. White hair, red eyes, and the name Michelle. Why must you continue to bring me pain? Why can you not set me free, as you were supposed to? I see. So you are Michelle again. Again. You should get some rest. I will make tea for you in the morning. Also, go on, close your eyes. The white-haired girl lay so quietly in her bed I could not tell whether she was asleep or awake. Even the sound of her breathing was too faint to hear. Standing over her, looking down at her, the locked-away despair and wails of lamentation I thought myself no longer capable of came bubbling back to the surface. But can you honestly blame me? I had been waiting for Michelle for so long. She was the one thing holding me up. She was the only thing keeping my broken self from falling apart completely. Yet she claimed not to remember me. Did you pity her, having to go through tragedy after tragedy? Yeah. But every time she showed up, she said she did not know me, bringing me more grief, more and more grief. I had been waiting for hundreds of years, waiting for her for so long, my mind slipping away with each passing day, waiting and waiting and waiting. My apologies. I have to be careful, or I'll slip back to what I was then. If you weren't here holding my hand now, Tell me, you are Michelle, aren't you? That's a relief to hear. Yes, thank you. I'm all right. Do you think I'm as muddled as I feel? Let us return to the tale, then. You don't know what it feels like. You don't know how much it hurts for someone you've waited for so long to say they don't know you. You have no idea how much it crushes me. Rather than feel like this anymore, maybe I should just end it all with my own hands. I reached my hands out toward her slender neck. I was not an especially strong woman, and I thought even I would be able to suffocate her with relative ease. She was blind at that, so she wouldn't be able to run. However, that was one thing I could not bring myself to do. I can't do it. I ran, and I ran, and I ran, though I knew how I had nowhere to run, plunging myself into the mansion's darkness. I did not want to be there any longer. I did not want to have anything to do with her. But being an inhuman inhabitant of the house, I could not close my eyes or plug my ears to what happened within its walls, as much as I may have wanted to. It didn't matter where I was. I had no say in the matter. I was forced to observe the events until their tragic conclusion. Twisted, bloody madness, their wretched wails creating a whirlwind of misery. When it was all over, Morgana cackled like a little girl. Go on, you have a laugh too, my dear. There's nothing in the world better than this. He was a beast through and through. And what a fool he was to think he could become human. I love it. He destroyed everything he had with his own hands, and then couldn't even manage to mourn it. Quite the unfortunate fate, wouldn't you say? Go on, laugh with me. Laugh with me, my darling, devoted Giselle. Michelle is dead too, though. You're worried about that tiny little detail? She'll show up again, of course. So you don't need to worry about a thing. You don't need to feel bad about any of this carnage. Rest easy, my darling, devoted Giselle. If you say so, then I shall not be concerned. Yes, that's good. Laugh. Laugh, my dear. I had forgotten a lot of details about this door number 6. And my god, it's fucking insane. This is wild, man. I apologize for making you listen to my dreadful stories for so long. You must be quite weary of them by now. But worry not, for this is the final one. And despite being the end, it is neither dramatic nor exciting. It was a single phrase, the most insignificant of things, that caused me to completely lose myself and forget I had long ago been the woman called Giselle. There was no malice in it. It was but a simple greeting. Do you remember how the first time she arrived, Michelle said I had a peculiar presence about me? She felt something there between us. And the second time, she said something about me She said something about me seemed familiar. She did not remember why, but her soul recognized the bonds we shared. So I assumed that the next time she showed up, she would feel something even stronger, or perhaps even have her memories. Despite having been let down again and again, I still held on to the faintest glimmer of hope. But when she appeared, she was someone else's wife.
Hey, head maid. Get out here.
I am right here, sir. Is something the matter?
I figured you should get to know her as soon as possible, since you're spending a lot of time looking after her. Wait. Since you'll be spending a lot of time looking after her. Hey, get out here. Christ, there's not a Hey, get out here. Christ, there's not a goddamn confident bone in your body, is there?
I'm sorry, I'll be right out. The first thing she said when she saw me was, "It's a pleasure to meet you." It's a pleasure to meet you. What had I spent all that time waiting for? It was all for naught. It was all meaningless. In this era, she felt nothing at all for me. In retrospect, it makes enough sense. But for me at the time, that was the end.
And that also explains why it took her a year to properly initiate another conversation with her, because it doesn't matter.
Morgana! Morgana!
Oh, I could do that way better, Jesus.
Morgana. Morgana! Cast me into darkness! Make me a formless being like you! I don't want to be here another second! I don't want to look at her ever again! Morgana! Morgana! Please listen to me! I'm begging you! Now, what's the matter, my dear? It's not like you to throw a tantrum. I can't take it anymore. I can't do this. Michelle again. Oh, you poor thing. Betrayed 3 times now. Morgana, you pitiful girl. Don't groan like you're having a bad dream, my dear. I am here for you. Please, Morgana, erase me from existence. If you go away, then I will be all alone, and that would be absolutely dreadful. But Tell me, what torments you so, my dear? What? Michelle, whom I've been waiting on for so long, doesn't... Oh, you poor thing. You've spent so long riding the currents of time that you've lost sight of yourself. What? You've convinced yourself that someone else's story is your own. Someone else's? Yes, indeed. It was such a beautifully tragic tale, you fell in love with it. It resonated so deeply with you that you felt their pain as if it were your own. What are you talking about? I wanted to tell you, my dear, but you were so convinced it actually happened to you that I couldn't bring myself to take it away. Then, what about Michelle? She is not the one you are waiting for. And you are not hers either. Then, what about Giselle? That is not your name. Then, who am I? Who are you? That's a very silly question. You are this mansion's cursed witch. I am the witch That you are. You are both the maid and the witch. But how? Do you truly believe that someone who has eternal life, who doesn't bleed when they're cut, and who can smile no matter what happens to her, isn't a witch? How much of this Giselle's memories do you actually possess, my dear? How clearly can you remember her life? You can't, can you? You don't know what kind of story Giselle and Michel wove. You don't know what kind of story Giselle and Michel wove. And you wouldn't, because you were merely an onlooker, much like you are now for this present tale. And by contrast, how much of the witch's story do you know? You should know it very well. Yes, but that's because you... No, my telling it to you is not the reason. The details are rooted deep within your memory. Then That's right. You are the cursed witch, Morgana. But you... I am you. You split into two because you refused to accept who you were. Think about it. Have I ever shown myself to you? Have I ever shown myself to anybody? That's why I am the witch. That you are. I see. It all makes sense now. Everything has fallen into place. There's one thing I still don't understand, though. This story I was so enamored with, Giselle's and Michel's story. What kind of story was it? I would be glad to tell you. You look like you're ready to know the truth.
Morgana is, if not the best, among the best antagonists, and certainly all of gaming. Up there in terms of fiction I've consumed. My God.
I believed every word she said. All my worries melted away like they were nothing. The sight of the white-haired girl no longer kicked up waves in my heart. In fact, I found myself wishing for her to find happiness. I was an observer, watching and hoping for the best. The tragedy that befell her did sadden me, but I felt bad for her like I would a character in a story. I brought you your medicine, Master.
Thank you. Just set it down over there. Yes? What are you staring at?
My apologies. I was simply musing about how much time has passed. I can hardly believe it has been 40 years since you were a bright young businessman.
Oh my God. Let me revoice that. Wow. Yeah. Thank you. Just set it down over there. Yes? What are you staring at?
My apologies. Can hardly believe it has been 40 years. 40 years! Since you were a bright young businessman.
I could probably go even older. And you haven't aged a day.
Why, thank you. I am a witch, after all.
Well, I don't much care what you are.
God! Jesus Christ! Fuck! At this point, they're both so resigned. They don't... Oh my... That's so sad. They have each other, and yet they have no one. Fuck! Wow. I'd forgotten all about this. It's been, like, really long since I've been at this part of the game.
Well, I don't much care what you are. You could be the Grim Reaper for all I care. You still work harder than anyone else.
May I ask you a question, Master?
What is it?
Why have you not returned to your homeland? I thought it was a place quite dear to you.
I can't wait for her back there.
Do you still believe she will return? To a degree, I understand how difficult it can be to wait. Though for me, waiting now brings more joy than pain. With your lifespan, Master, it will be the pain that wins out. Perhaps you should consider letting go.
Tell me, was her name really Michelle?
Why, yes, it most certainly was. But why would you ask such a thing? Have you forgotten your own wife's name? You have waited so long that it would seem like... You have waited so long that it would seem like me. Some part of you has begun to break down. Oh, you poor, poor man.
You know, you look a whole lot more pitiful than me.
Oh my.
Jesus.
Oh, there you are. What has you in such a flurry, my dear? You are a noble servant. You must maintain your composure at all times. But the master... Oh. Oh, there you are! Oh, there you are! I don't know. What about him? He was found deceased in his chambers. The doctor just came out. He said it was his ailment. And it would seem the master knew his time was short, for he left a will, asking not to be given a funeral. I see. I feel kind of bad for him, though. Not only did he not have anyone at his side for his final moments, he didn't want to be sent off at all. Isn't that sad? It is for the best. There is not a single soul in this world left who could send him off. With your era drawn to an end, this mansion will soon return to existing nowhere in this world. I wonder what the next one will look like. I wonder if misfortune will befall her once more. That would be quite regrettable. Perhaps if I could convince her of her tragic fate, she would be willing to disappear from this realm with me. And if she wishes to fight that fate, perhaps she will become my next master. Calling her master seems inappropriate, but I cannot think of a word that fits better. I eagerly await the next era. Please do not keep me waiting for long, Master.
Jesus.
Time pressed onward, and then at long last, you arrived. Oh, splendid. You have finally awoken. I have simply been waiting so long for this moment, tending to the mansion all by my lonesome, ensuring it was ready for your return, Master, whenever that time may be. When I caught sight of you through the window, my heart fluttered. The time had finally arrived. Oh my, you do not know who I am? Do you not know who you are either? That is quite the predicament. Then how about this? I am a servant of this mansion, and as such I am familiar with the many incidents that have taken place here. I shall show you the history of this house, Master. Let us be off then, and fear not, I merely entreat you not to let go of my hand. Should you hold it tightly, you need not worry about being washed away by the waves of history. No matter what happens, you mustn't let go of my hand. No matter what happens, no matter what you see, never again let go of this hand.